We talked about yesterday the Trump-China meeting. It was in South Korea, but with Xi Jinping, and how at the time of recording, I didn't know a lot about what had come of this meeting, but it seemed like it was a little bit of an embarrassment. And now something that's driving me loco is that most mainstream media doesn't seem to be properly reporting on this story. And a lot of people don't seem to understand what actually happened here. So plenty of people, we'll get to what that is, but plenty of people are talking about the handshake. We talked about it. Yeah, it's interesting. Show the shake.
Mr. President, the President of the People's Republic of China.
Good to meet you. Great pleasure to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Me too.
All right.
And we're
my
going to have
volume
a
go
very
out?
successful meeting, I have no doubt.
我肯定我们今天会有非常成功的会议。
But he's a very tough negotiator. That's not good.
但是他是很强硬的谈判者哦，这个不好。
We know each other well.
我们相互之间非常了解。
Mr. President, do you plan to sign a trade deal today?
Could be.
有可能，
I think we'll have a great understanding.
但是我们会达成很好的
We
理
have a
解。
great relationship. We've always had a great relationship.
我们之间的关系很好，关系总是很好。
我们之间的关系。
那问他是不是还在为美国的大众？
Will you discuss Taiwan, sir?
现在下面问题。
So plenty of people talked about that. And then, of course, Fox News was running stories about how this was so iconic and how Lutnick was, I don't know if I think he's married. He was more in love with Trump's handling of the situation than I've ever seen him with his wife.
I mean, we see video of you sitting across from your Chinese counterparts. I know there's a lot of respect at the table, but are you kind of like kicking these guys a little bit, you know, maybe like just a little bit? I mean, what's the atmosphere in that room?
Well, you know, look, the atmosphere in the room is that you feel the power of your man. You know, the president's power, the guy on your side of the table, he's washing all over you. So when
You feel the power of your man, and he's washing all over you. He's washing all over Howard.
Ooh, the deep nuance of Howard Lutnick.
All right. So that was a part of the story. And then they walked out, and on all the airwaves, you had MAGA folks saying greatest achievement ever. Trump made China blink. Trump, had China bend the knee, cower to him. Xi Jinping was terrified, and they got huge concessions. And my initial take yesterday was, I'll wait and see. I'll go ahead and wait and see if that's real. It feels like we're just nudging back to where we were before, but still not all the way there. But there's some numbers I'm going to give you in a second that really should infuriate you that it's not the headline from every outlet, given how Trump's trying to brand this. But just a couple more things before that. Rare earth export restrictions was a part of what Trump was trying to get relieved that China had placed. Now, I don't know if he had addressed in this meeting raw earth, because that's a big deal too.
You know, we have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can create a lot of great product in this country.
How does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be.
So we are waiting to see. Let's see. Do we have any update? No update on raw earth, but rare earth he did supposedly address. Something so funny about that to me for some reason. And that we got Xi Jinping to back off of his restrictions on rare earth. Very important. Could have made a big economic dent. True. And the other big thing they said, and just hold, because this is how it's been reported. I saw one that was like, Trump gets Xi Jinping to buy soybeans. And it was all triumphant. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, saying this is a really great deal and laying out the numbers for us. While we watch it, please do click the subscribe button. Think about all that goes into the show. It's a lot. These guys work their tails off. My tail's long been gone. I worked it off all the way. And all I'm asking from y'all is just subscribe. It's free.
Maria, one of the big parts of this agreement, and I'm going to break the news here on your story, is the massive amount of agriculture purchases that the Chinese are going to be doing in this agreement. So the Chinese have agreed to buy 12 million metric tons of soybeans during this season, right now, between now and the should be January. And then for the next 3 years, they're going to be buying a minimum of 25 million metric tons per annum for the next 3 years. What I would expect.
So, you hear that? If you listen to MAGA media, and honestly some in mainstream media, the story you got was, hey, things got really bad for the farmers. Trump went over there to help them. Why did it get bad? Well, he placed all those wild tariffs with not much of a plan, but okay, that was a part of the art of the deal. He goes over there, he shakes Xi Jinping's hand so hard it falls off. Howard Lutnick's getting washed all over by the manliness of Trump. It's all going brilliantly. Xi Jinping didn't even notice Trump's ankles. And all of that master dealing led to, what did he say? 12.5 million metric tons. Whew. That sounds like a lot. And then in future seasons, 25 million tons per year. Boom. We did it. But if you look hard enough, which this should have been the headline, but there was a Reuters report about this. You probably want to say, well, what were they purchasing before this trade war? The drop in Chinese demand cost U.S. farmers a key pillar of Trump's political base, billions of dollars in lost sales, and the deal would represent a return to normalcy in trade with the top U.S. soy importer, which averaged purchases of 28.8 million tons over the past 5 September to August crop seasons. Jaden did on the calculator. Let's see. 25 minus 28.8. Less is the outcome of that. So this year it's 12.5. 12.5. That's supposed to be a victory for the farmers that we're supposed to expect 28. I saw sometimes it's 25 million tons. This is Trump's economic approach in a nutshell. Or in a soybean. Yeah. This is it. This is it, right? Which is create a problem, partially put it out. Don't lower the tariffs are still like 47%. We're still going to have to pay way more. Proclaim victory. Demand applause. The rare earth stuff. Hey, they only backed down on the restrictions that they placed, or they were threatening, or they placed or something after you started this. And then Trump said he dropped the tariffs, like I said, I think it was from 57 to 47, because they made a strong promise that they'll do more on fentanyl. That's the story. Let me see if I just Trump-Xi meeting. Let's look at some of these headlines. Here's what Trump says he and Xi agreed to in their meeting. No. China's Xi holds court at APEC summit after Trump trade truce. Opinion. Trump and Xi flexed. Who won? Maybe that dives into it. I think the headline should be Trump. I don't know. I don't want to write it right now. Stinky Trump just flopped. I don't know. Something. I'm sure that would fit. New York Times? Does that work? Now, in the same realm of what is Trump doing globally, we have increasingly some concerning signs that we might be preparing for war with Venezuela. The U.S. is preparing for war in Venezuela, says The Atlantic. More U.S. military powers headed to the Caribbean as Trump escalates his anti-Maduro rhetoric. And there seems to be a regime change, which Maduro's terrible. So two things can be true, that, and I think have we not learned our lesson of our regime change military interventions and how those tend to go? Here was one genius plot that leaked as to how they were trying to get Maduro out of power. A federal agent was like, hey, pilot, Maduro's pilot, well, you want to just fly this bro to the US and we'll arrest him? It didn't work. It didn't work, unfortunately. The plan was first hatched after Lopez received a tip about Venezuelan planes undergoing repairs in the Dominican Republic. And then they kept begging, please fly Maduro to the US, which I gotta be honest, if we are trying to do regime change, that would be a pretty clean option. He just lands here and we're like, I got you. This isn't Iran. Because I was talking about he's taking different trips to places like Iran. And on one of those, you could just be like, yeah, sure, Maduro, that's where we're going. Really? I feel like, why do I see Marjorie Taylor Greene shooting a rifle down there? This isn't Iran. Or Iran, as some people call it. Iran. Alex Jones. Eventually, this pilot had enough with Lopez's badgering. During a September 18th text exchange, he called Lopez a coward and claimed that Venezuelans are cut from a different cloth, reaffirming his loyalty to Maduro. So again, hey, what's happening here? I saw Hexeth get asked and he was like, yeah, we're just making sure we're going to just sort of so awesome, and didn't give much information. But a lot of signs pointing towards military escalation. Obviously, we're striking boats out of the water, and full regime change might be the plan. And so as someone who's going, hold your horses, you'd think that people arguing, I was so Trumpian there, wow. You'd think that people arguing against this would be making rational arguments about the history of regime change wars and the destabilization that we've caused before. And then we go, and how bad that could be, especially if Trump's the one doing it. But somehow Tucker Carlson came up with a way that Russia Today was hyping up to argue against this in a way that makes me for it. No, it doesn't make me for it, but that is so outrageous. Watch this. No, I'll just spoil it. It's so that they can gayify Venezuela.
Salvador really comes close, which is much smaller, of course. And by the way, the U.S.-backed opposition leader who would take Maduro's place if he were taken out is, of course, pretty eager to get gay marriage in Venezuela. So to those of you who thought this whole project was globo homo, not crazy, actually.
So Trump wants to overthrow Maduro for the cause of globo homo?
We have to keep our country gay.
We caught him. He leaked it all that time ago. There's like 100 good arguments to bring up in opposition to this. Trying to convince people it's because Trump just got the Rainbow Mafia memo. I don't know. Seems like a stretch. Seems a little bit like a stretch.